Hello and welcome to I Have a Question, a series of very informative conversation that we will be having with some of the experts, some gurus, some passionate beings about life, its ways and beyond. My name is Padmini Pandit and today we will be talking about something really important, something really relevant to making this world a better place, a happier place. If you have not guessed it already, we are talking about the children of today who will be defining and shaping up the world tomorrow. If you are a parent, how often do you doubt your parenting abilities and wonder, am I doing it all right? How often do you feel lost and helpless dealing with the young adults in your family? The exhaustion, the chaos, the madness, the oh, I can't do this anymore moments, or the where did I go wrong doubts of parenting. Well, if you're watching this video, I'm sure it will give you more clarity in bringing up your children. You will know how and when to introduce values in their lives to make them happy, confident, independent, and sorted adults. Is there any user manual or formula to parenting? Well, let's find out. I'm very happy and honored to bring you all Miss Trish Summerfield. Miss Trish is an international speaker, a presenter, an educator, and a writer. She's been taking workshops all over the world for children in giving them value-based education. She's originally from New Zealand and today she is with us to talk about parenting and adding value to the education system of our children. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Trish, for talking to us, for taking out time and guiding us through this beautiful journey of parenting.
I mean, it's a real pleasure to be here, and I've heard a lot about your audience, and so it's lovely also to have a chance to connect with them too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my first question to you, Ms. Trish, is that about, it's my personal question. I have been, looking for the answer for this question for a very long time, and I really hope I get it now. It's about how do we control, or so to say, deal with the external influences that our kids go through. I'd like to cite a very simple example over here, which is very typical to Hong Kong. Sure. We live in a skyscraper city, so there's usually a queue for taking a lift. And I'm sure you will observe if you go out, most of the times, unfortunately, people, including me, we are so impatient that we keep pressing the button, the lift button. We all know that, that's not going to make this, it's not going to make it any quicker.
Lit up, but you keep pushing the button.
That's not going to help. The lift will come when it has to come. And I will admit that I have also, been tempted to do that a couple of times, but then I'm very conscious of the fact that I have my son with me, and I'm well aware of the fact that he's going to, follow my steps. So I don't want to do that. And I'm very conscious. I just press and I stand patiently, and no matter how itching I am to, keep pressing it, I don't do that. But then there are other people. He's watching them. And I see him doing that very often. He has no rush. He doesn't know what is a rush, but he does that. And it disturbs me. And this is a very mild example that I'm giving you because this is just the beginning of the conversation. But I have had very close friends and some family members. I have seen how they get disturbed because of the external influence that the kids go through, because I think they spend way more time outside than within the home. How do we deal with this?
Absolutely. So first of all, understand I'm responsible for myself, and I'm responsible for how I act. I don't have to get caught up in the external, but with your child, you be the example, and then have a conversation with him. Help him learn to use the external to grow from. Rather than rejecting it or just following it blindly, use it to grow from. So become aware that, yes, when people are stressed, they have these kind of behaviors. And when they have this kind of behaviors and they keep pushing the button, what will be the result? Rather than telling him, ask him, will it make a difference? Will the lift come faster? And he'll be able to say, well, no, Mum, because the light's already lit up. It's not going to come faster. So he'll start to understand, well, these people are under the influence of stress. Or perhaps they aren't right now, but they've built that habit under stress, and it's become a habit. So that even though it's not going to bring the lift any faster, they need to do it under the influence of their habit. So he can see it with wisdom and understanding. He can see that when he is under a state of tension, he may act in that way too. And ask him, if you ever feel tense about something, does that influence your behavior? And he might go, oh yeah, sometimes I get grumpy with my brother or sister. Okay, so when you're influenced by a little bit of stress or tension, you might get grumpy with your brother or sister. Okay, so what is the real thing happening? You are influenced and you are acting like this. So he'll be able to connect between his emotion and his action. And when he sees it in others without judging them, he can see it with understanding. So it means that when you're out and about, rather than reacting and thinking, oh, they'll influence him, no, have conversations with him, often before,
okay,
right? So that he can understand when he's stressed, he will do this to his brother or sister or, friend. And that's the connection. It's starting inside. He's having a worrying thought inside. He's feeling it in his body, his tension. Ask him, when you're tense, what happens in your mind? My thoughts will go faster. What happens in your body? But tension in my muscles. What happens to your heart? Oh, my heart pumps faster. And then, what do you say? I might say something negative to my little sister or brother. So he's starting to make the connection for himself. Then he'll be able to see and understand other people when they're in states of stress. So what I would say to you is, whatever anyone's doing is totally fine. Use it to grow. Use it to help him to understand, but not pointing at them. Understand it within himself. So he becomes more perceptive of his own emotions. And when he gets some stress or challenge later on, he's able to identify, it's starting inside. This is what I'll do to my body, but I can change my thoughts. I can have a calmer thought. I can talk to my mind. I can parent my mind so that it doesn't go wild. Okay. That's one aspect. The other is use time. I'm often in traffic jams or whatever. I use them as opportunities. Not to think how many seconds more for the lift or how many seconds before the traffic light goes green. Breathe. Use them as a space in your day. We talk about being busy, but when we do have a space, which is a space, waiting for the lift is a space, it's an opportunity. And as a victim, when I feel, poor me, the lift's not coming, I misuse that opportunity. I'm used by it. But if I go, okay, this is offering me, 10, 15, 20 seconds in my day. Let me just breathe, review whatever's happened this morning, use it as a little peace snack, right, for my mind. Make my mind calm and peaceful. A chance to chat with each other, a chance to ask my child a question if it's there. How was your day? How was your morning? What happened? What did you learn? What did you explore? Use those as opportunities to connect with each other rather than a piece of metal. Connect with each other or connect with yourself. I think there's so many opportunities and we misuse them.
I agree. I completely agree. It totally makes sense. But the question that comes to my mind is, what if, what about the grown-up kids, maybe in their 14 or 15 or 16? I don't think they will be as receptive to their parents, as my son is at the age of 5. So then how do we deal with this?
Well, the ideal is that you start young.
I agree, yeah.
Because their perceptions are formed young.
Correct.
And UNESCO has a saying, 8 is too late. No, it's not too late.
Okay.
But it means by the time they're 8, they've formed their pathways of thinking.
Right.
So then it takes more. It takes more practice
efforts?
and yes, to change.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But of course, start young. They learn from watching you, particularly in the younger years, and they learn from the atmosphere in the home.
True.
I often work with parents going, oh, my children's addicted to gaming. But then, how often do they watch the parent on the phone? And I think as parents, you have to say, stop. When I'm with my children, my phone shouldn't be there, at least for the absolute majority of the time. You're with them for a short amount of time. Give them you. Be with them. Connect with them. They will get so much from you.
So do you think if I practice this in later years, it will help my son or daughter not get addicted to the screen virus, like we say these days?
They will be much, much less likely to get addicted. Yes, yes, absolutely. Because, and particularly the aspect around their emotions. If they can make a connection, if they can see this thought that they are having is creating this emotion, and it's creating a negative down spiral, because that negative thought will lead to if I say I'm not feeling good, or this is not good, or he's not nice to me, I feel hurt, I feel sad, and then another thought, oh, other people also don't think I'm good, and another negative emotion, and they will get into a negative spiral. But if you draw that with them, let them draw it, let them see when I have this thought, what emotion comes and what thought will follow, then they become much more perceptive of the thoughts and the emotions. You can also go, can you change this? Yes, okay, what could you create instead? Draw it. How do you feel if you think, I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to grow confident? And then another thought, let me start now, more confident. So I think if you work with them, particularly on the inner level, so they are building up self-respect. So you're not pushing and trying to force them to respect people before they respect themselves. Maybe that worked for your generation, but it doesn't work for this generation. And they are seeing people, adults, behaving in a way that's not respectful. They're being told to be respectful. First build their own self-respect. And then the respect can flow naturally out for others, Mother Nature, the environment. It needs to come from the inside out. And then, yes, that's creating the human being, because patterns of thought and behavior that will flow as they grow up.
But Ms. Trish, like you just mentioned about this generation, specifically for this generation where the kids have so much exposure to information, how do you think, and as a parent, how can we help them focus? Because there are multiple options for everything.
Sure.
We didn't grow up in that kind of an environment.
Totally, I get that, and it is really serious. If you're working with older kids, teenagers, and yes, it's information overload. It's not wisdom, it's information overdose. And so, that is very, very unhealthy for the mind. And we don't even really understand yet the huge impacts of this information overload. I think, because once they get to the teenage years, well, no, they're not going to listen as much. But I would provide opportunities for them, or you as a family, to be phone free. To take a holiday and to be somewhere where they can be active and engage, sport or whatever kind of physical activity that they're really going to enjoy, and just say, let's experiment with being phone free. And you have to start first. And it may only be 2 or 3 days, because in the beginning it's going to be hard for them and you. But you, as well as encouraging them, you practice being phone free.
But even if I do that, how do I, again, the external influence, they go to the school and then they have the friends who have everything, and, they have phones and they have gadgets, and then they come back home, and you don't want your child to be left out, or you don't want him to feel, oh, my parents never give me.
I totally get that. So you are under pressure because you feel
there's a lot of peer pressure.
There's peer pressure. If I don't have this model, this brand, this number, this, I'm not. So again, it comes back to realizing you can't create real happiness from things. You buy it for them and they may have happiness today. And I'm not saying don't buy it, but I'm saying that can't be the source of their self-respect. Otherwise, I just read statistics yesterday, I heard on the BBC, 25% of children around teenagers within a year of being interviewed, and I think they interviewed 900, had self-harmed. They'd cut themselves. 25%. And the reasons were bullying, peer pressure, appearance, possessions, all of these physical things.
Oh no.
So what it's telling us in a very strong way, learn, that respect that they have has to come from inside. If you don't love who you are, if you don't recognize your own value, you won't be able to fill that hole from anyone or anything. And this is why, as a parent, one thing you can do is stop comparing them.
Yeah.
I know parents do this,
I agree.
sometimes with good intention to try and motivate them.
Yeah.
Study harder, you know, you can get a higher mark than your cousin, or, you know, look what your cousin got, you can do it, you can do it. But no, that's not the way. It builds up a lack of self-esteem and resentment towards the cousin and you. But no, build their self-respect, challenge them with themselves. You've got this score, you want to try and let's get a higher one.
All right. Also, Ms. Trish, about tolerance, I think it is really very important that we teach our kids to be tolerant. I'm a very social person. I have a lot of friends, and over a period of time I have understood that I have a lot of friends because I'm tolerant. I am tolerant to their ideas. They may not be in sync with my ideas. It's okay. So one day I just saw my son, and he was really upset with his friend for something very trivial, that he doesn't like my favorite superhero or whatever. So I spoke to him that day, and I told him the same thing, that Mama has a lot of friends because she's very tolerant, and you have to be tolerant if you want to maintain relationships. Cut to a couple of months, and I see these couple of friends are absolutely walking over him, and
right.
And then I was, as a mother, I really felt bad.
Okay.
And I came back home and I asked him that, why did you not speak for yourself?
Yes.
And he tells me, Mama, I thought you would be proud that I was really being tolerant. And I'm like, no. So it's because at this age they take everything literally.
Sure.
So I really don't know, how do we draw a line, or how do we explain it to them that of course you have to be tolerant, but not to an extent that people would just walk over you, or you would be a pushover.
Yeah. So I would use stories, I'd use videos, and I'd also really understand what tolerance is. And often, particularly in Asia, we can think that it is to suppress our emotion. That means to be tolerant. No, that means to suppress our emotion. Tolerance means that I look at that person and situation with understanding and wisdom, so I remain calm, right? I see it with wisdom and understanding.
That's right.
So I don't react internally or externally. But then I think with the child, first the child has to build self-respect. If you tolerate and you don't respect yourself, it will feel like suppression. So I would say first the child has to start with respect for the self. Build self-love, build recognition of the self as unique. Build that security in who I am as an individual, my own virtues, my own qualities. When I'm secure in that, I can understand others. I can feel more easy with others. But I would say start with self-respect. That comes, and then you can have a good balance of respect and humility. Because otherwise, if they don't build self-respect, either they feel they are less than others, or they feel they're more.
Oh, I agree.
You get low self-esteem, passive low self-esteem, or aggressive low self-esteem. We have to help them to see there is a middle. In the middle, I know my own value. I love myself. And I also love you, and I know your value. My value is not lost in your having value. But if they're standing here and feeling they're less than others, then they feel others have more value than them. Here, they're more than others, and others have less value, right? So then they get their sense of being good by, or confident by, putting others down. Neither of these sides are good. The middle way is, I know who I am, I love who I am, I feel my value. The middle way, I know my value, I appreciate who I am, I love who I am. And in that state I'm secure, so I can also recognize your value, your uniqueness, and love you and learn from you. But I'm not lost in you, and I'm not insecure. And so this is what you can do. This is, I think, more valuable than the latest iPhone. If you can help your young children and even older children feel their uniqueness. So never compare.
Are there any tools, or I don't know, how do we do that? It's easier said than done.
So I would start with, because children don't like to be taught.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can explore with them. So, if there's a situation where someone's being very bossy, then get them to stand. Say, okay, what do you think he's feeling and how do you think he's seeing things? Let's do an experiment. Let's stand here. He's being bossy, so he thinks he's better than them, right? He's looking at the world through these shoes. But then, would that always be good? How would you feel if you were doing that? Maybe threatened. Someone else might come along and be better than me. Would you like to stand there? No. What about the other extreme if we go over this side? What's the opposite of that? Oh, I feel I'm less than them. How would that feel if you live your life in that way? Also not comfortable, right? You're asking your child, you're doing an experiment. Okay, let's step one step this way. This is the middle. When I'm standing in the middle, how do I feel about myself and others? I know my uniqueness, my value, and I also know theirs. Them being valuable does not take from me because I have my own value. And so this way I can learn from them and grow from them. I'm not threatened. And I can understand they have their high points and their low points, and that's okay. I'm not losing myself in tolerating them. It's coming from understanding. So I think nowadays, this generation, you can't make them be tolerant, but you can help them build their self-respect through activities like I just did.
Yeah, that was
standing in those
beautiful.
shoes. Let's stand. And when they're feeling insecure, ask them, which set of shoes are you standing in now? Step into the middle.
I think it's a beautiful way of making them think and making them aware of what they are going through, what others are going through.
And it also comes from knowing they are more than just a body.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they look out in the world with the basis of I'm a body and you're a nationality and whatever, they will always compare. Always. So we have to be able to say, within me I have virtues and qualities and strengths and thoughts and values. This is me, and I express it through my body. So they're able to see others beyond just the limits of the physical. They're able to see the inner being. And I think if they live in that way, then they can see, well, we all are equal. We're unique, but we're all equal. And we express through different bodies, that's fine, but we're not limited to the body. We are much more than that.
Yes, that's really a valuable piece of advice, and I'm definitely going to try that at home. You were saying something?
Yeah, I'm saying, and you can't buy that. And shops, don't really want to sell that. They want to sell other things by us looking at the body and identifying and hoping that ours will become, 30 years younger if we use this cream or whatever, or suddenly different,
Talking about slightly older children or maybe teenagers, or how do we deal with teen love? This is a question that I got from one of my viewers, so I really wanted to ask you. Very sensitive time, and I think it is the time where you can really lose the track and
of course, ideally you start before that time, and you've done your work in building self-respect and knowing that in our life things will come and go, people will come and go in our life. They'll offer us something, we can learn from them. We can't hold on to things, that life is always changing. So if we've done the work in helping them to build their own self-respect, they will be more secure when they start to look into relationships, and they will do it coming from a more stable point where they are respecting themselves and the other person, and they'll be more aware that change happens. This person that I'm meeting now may not be the one that I spend my life with. Exactly. They may move in and out of our life because, we're changing a lot. This is a time of tremendous change. So they won't get so lost into it and in that person, which is what often happens. So yes, we have to do the work when they are younger. Not talking specifically about relationships, but about building self-respect and friendships, and understanding that as we grow, changes may happen. People may come and go, and this person going means that it's an opportunity for someone else to enter in my life.
Nice.
But I can only see that if I'm secure. If my identity hasn't formed about being that with that person, I am that person's, girlfriend or boyfriend. If I've started to build a deep identity around that, when that changes, I will feel like I lost part of myself. Whereas if I have self-respect, I'll know I am an individual being and I will meet many people in my life to learn and grow from. But they won't always stay. They may come in and out of my life. But that doesn't mean I lose myself. I have another opportunity for someone else to enter, and they may bring something more valuable, something more beautiful.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. Ms. Trish, about working mothers, again a very popular question with all our viewers. How can a working mother make sure that the values are brought into her family and followed, because unfortunately they don't have as much time as a stay-at-home mom has to spend with the kids and to see them employing those values?
No, I really appreciate this question, and I really, really appreciate working mums. I think there's so many things you can do that can really bring values in the home. I think one thing I would say is before you go home each night, spend 5 minutes with yourself. Process with yourself. Sit for 5 minutes, and you'll go, no, I'm rushing. No, when you're rushing is the most important time to sit. Sit, go into stillness, silence, make your mind calm. Review the day at work. What did I learn? What went well? And close the door of work. Take off the hat, that role. Become peaceful, really peaceful, so that when you travel home, you travel in peace. You're refreshing your mind. Even on the train, like I'm a meditator. I meditate on the train. I make myself safe and in a little place. It could be standing up. Have meditation while you're standing on the train. Have 5 minutes for yourself to refresh yourself, so that by the time you get home, you've really let go of that role. You are refreshed. You might have read some lovely points that you enjoy, that stimulate you internally, to become happier or more positive. You open the door. The first thing you say is not, have you done your homework? Leave it. And I would say, because first impression, we know that in marketing, right? It has the impact. So first impression is really important. So you've done the work. Invest 5 or 10 minutes with your child. Full on, be with them. Go to their room or wherever they are. Nothing about work, nothing about all the stuff you've got to do this evening, nothing about homework. Just be with them. How are you feeling? What's happened today? What do you remember about today? How about your friends? How are they? Just chat. If you can, play for a bit, not with a computer, but play, do something. Just enjoy. So spend that, I would say, ideally 10 minutes or even more, but at least 5. Just be with them, and then do whatever you need to do. If it's cooking dinner, but do it peacefully. As you cook, don't let your mind race, because your child will feel that vibration, and they'll also feel it in the food. If you're cooking with tension, they will feel tension when they eat or after. It's a vibration, and when you heat food, the molecules are most susceptible to influence of vibration. So cook with love, cook peacefully, enjoy it, and then eat. No phones, no TV. No phones, no TV. Really. This has become a culture now, and it's so unhealthy. So unhealthy. Turn everything off. Look at each other. Human beings, the people that you love. Be with each other. Listen to them. And enjoy each other. So that, maybe you didn't spend all day with your children. Anyway, they were at school. You were at work. But now you're together, and make that time quality. So I would always say to working mums and dads, quality is more important than quantity. That's what they'll remember.
But Ms. Trish, talking about this, I can speak for all my viewers. I'm sure that there's, again, very specific to this generation, the meal time, which is the together time, is always so stressful. The kids don't eat. What do we do?
The kids don't eat.
No, this almost every other child today is a fussy eater. They don't want to eat healthy food. They want junk all the time, which is not possible.
Yeah.
So, the meal time, which is supposed to be such a relaxing family time, becomes very stressful because the parents are always telling the kid to focus. They're looking here and there and talking and not involved in eating the food at all. Do you have any? I don't know. I know it's
Yeah. I mean, I think again, these things. It's not easy to tell them, but to help them make a connection between this thing that's in front of them, this piece of matter, food, and what it's going to do inside them. So, now these fast food places, very often the things that they're producing, it's not done out of love.
Yeah.
They're not doing it with love. They're doing it for money. And they very often are putting things that are so unhealthy and should be eaten very rarely. You already know this.
Yeah.
But, make the food with love and let them have treats. But let them understand that the treats will come, on a special occasion, so that there is, this is a special occasion, we will get this treat, rather than part of a daily thing, a daily culture. And you start that from young, and putting beside them as a child, this is water and this is soda, this has so much sugar, and when we put the sugar inside us, this is what happens to us. So conversations, movies or documentaries around it. So they learn about sugar. There's some really good documentaries on sugar now.
True.
So help them make the connection, because just saying no or look or whatever,
it's not going to help.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. My last question to you, Ms. Trish. What do you think is the biggest mistake as a parent we do, which hampers our child's self-confidence, or just something which you've observed which is just not right with the most of us? I get it now already. I think you're going to talk about the phone, which I completely agree. I can't agree more. But is there anything else that you think that we should work on as a parent to make our children's life happier?
I mean, there's two things, if I can say. Really love and appreciate yourself as parents. Don't give yourself a hard time, because you are doing your best. So appreciate if you make a mistake, if you get angry, even like rub your arm and say, yeah, I did that, I regret it, but I also love my child and I'm working to change. So be loving and kind to yourself. The children will feel that. Don't give yourself a hard time. Give yourself space for calm and happy, peaceful thinking. This is a life. Life is not about being a doing, it's about being, right? And I think often now we focus on the action more than the process of the action, right? And how we feel while we're acting. So we become human doings rather than beings. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, with your children and your language, focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. And there's Abdul Kalam, the president of India, several presidents ago.
Of course, yeah.
The story of when he was a child and in the tree one day, and his father, a big wind came out, and his father called out, "Hold on tight." But his cousin's mum called, "Don't fall," and she fell, because what she held in her mind was falling. And very often we're going, don't do this, don't do that, no. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want.
Wow.
Study well, enjoy it, walk confidently and hold it in a safe way, whatever. Speak for what you want rather than what you don't want. We feed it in them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, I never thought about that.
It's a big one. I mean, statistically, it's a ratio of 17 to 1 from Iowa University in America, but it's big. We are training them to focus on what we don't want and they don't want, and naturally they will go in that cycle of negative, right? And your subconscious mind doesn't think in negative or positive, so you're just reinforcing. It's like if you say, don't eat too much chocolate, don't eat too much sugar, what do they remember? Sugar and chocolate. So focus on what you want. And also in terms of what you speak towards yourself. I'm being a respectful, kind mum. You know, and I'm nurturing that in my child. And I'm enjoying being a mum. Sometimes we're so busy doing, we forget to be. So enjoy it. Enjoy each other.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Trish, for this very enlightening conversation. I'm taking back home so many things that I have learned from you. And honestly, and I just hope it was the same for you all. If you have any questions, you may just write it in the comment section. I will try and get the answers for them from Ms. Trish. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed our show,
Thank you.
please
Thanks
subscribe to the
us.
channel.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks so much.